Hey guys, I'm going to be in this little box right here, but we're mostly going to be focusing up here on the screen, okay? So this week we're continuing to do subtraction, but I'm going to show you a little bit different way that we're going to use it today, okay? So this is called solving a comparison problem using objects. And now what that means is we are going to take two groups of objects, see how they compare to each other, and use subtraction to help us with that. Now let's say at home you have 3 blue shirts in your closet and 7 green shirts, right? And if we compare your blue shirts and your green shirts, one has more and one has less. When we compare things, we're seeing how they're different and how they're the same and how they're similar, okay? So with this strategy, we're going to be taking two groups of objects and seeing how they compare to each other, how many more one group has, how many less one group has, and so on. Okay, so when we compare with, what does it mean to compare when subtracting? That means we're seeing what's different between two groups of objects. So looking at these cubes right here on the bottom, we have set A, which is this long row right here, and set B, which is this little row right here. Now, when you're comparing the two groups, you can notice that this top group has more cubes because it comes out farther than this second row, right? So I can tell that set A has more cubes than set B. So that's what we can notice first. Now, when we're comparing them, we maybe want to see, okay, how many less does this one have than this one? Or how many more cubes are here than there are here? So let's look at a problem and practice that. First one says, Jennifer had 6 goldfish and Katie had 2 goldfish. How many fewer or how many less goldfish does Katie have than Jennifer? So this slide kind of shows us what we just heard. We know that Jennifer has 6 goldfish, which you see by these red cubes, and Katie has 2, so there's 2 blue cubes. So we want to know who has more goldfish and who has less goldfish, right? So we know that Jennifer has more because she has more cubes here, and Katie has less goldfish because she just has 2. All right? Now the next slide, it put both of the groups side by side so we can really see closely how they compare to each other. Okay, so they drew a line right down this little spot right here because we see that there's 2 here and there's 2 here. So this is where this line shows us what for the cubes where they are the same. So top has 2, bottom has 2. And then the circle right here, this shows us what's the extra, how many more does Jennifer have than Katie? So here, the question was, how many fewer goldfish does Katie have than Jennifer? Well, we can tell because here, Katie doesn't have blue cubes right here. She didn't have as many as Jennifer. So I can count how many cubes here that Jennifer has, the extra, to see what's the difference between their two groups of goldfish, right? So Jennifer has 6 and Katie has 2. So how we can use subtraction with this is we can take Jennifer's number, which is the biggest one, 6. We can take away the smallest number, which was 2 from Katie, and that gives us 4. 6 take away 2 is 4. So that means that looking at the circle, Jennifer has 4 more fish than Katie, or Katie has 4 less than Jennifer. All right, let's try another one. Megan has 7 stickers and Beth has 5 stickers. How many more stickers does Megan have than Beth? Now remember, we're comparing the two groups of objects. We're comparing Megan's stickers, how many she has, and how many Beth has, right? So looking at this slide, we see that Megan has 7 and Beth has 5. And we know that 7's a bigger number, so Megan clearly has more stickers than Beth, all right? And Beth has less stickers than Megan. All right, now here we have our cubes like more closer together, they're side by side. So we can see how they compare to each other. So I'm gonna grab my pen, I'm gonna make it kind of a blue, and I'm gonna come here to the end of Beth's row. Now this right here, I'm gonna draw a line. This shows me that this right here is where their 2 rows are the same. So if I stopped right here by this line, these cubes are the same amount as right here. Okay, now obviously Megan has a few more cubes, so we can't forget those. So I'm going to circle these 2 cubes right here. Okay, so let's look at the question that they asked us. It says, how many more stickers did Megan have than Beth? So what I can do is I can look at Megan's row and I can see, okay, how many cubes, how much did it extend past where Beth's ended, right? So I can see that there's 1 cube here and 2 cubes here, and those 2 obviously aren't here. So Megan would have 2 more stickers than Beth does. So I'm going to write that as a problem. So Megan has 7 cubes minus Beth's 5 cubes, which means that leaves us with 2. And that means that Megan has 2 more stickers than Beth, or Beth has 2 less than Megan.